Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing really well. Welcome to 26th December. The Christmas is over and we are just some days and the year will end and a new year will start. And with new year you can have new commitments, you can have new resolutions, and it's a start of a new year. So new energy, new vigor should be there for the coming year. And with this positive thought process, let's start today's news analysis. But before I start, I want to understand if audio and video is clear to everyone. If audio and video is clear to everyone, please tell me in the comment section. Okay. So OGP 2026 batch will be starting on 2nd January 2025 under the guidance of Vinay sir, who is the founder and director of Insights IAS, and the OGP batch will include GS, CSAT, SA, and all the details have been given here for anything related to Insights courses. UPSC prelims, UPSC mains, question paper, test series, anything which you want to know, please call on this number 8069405205. This is what you need to call upon, and rest for all details you can also scan this QR code. Okay, so the important thought for the day is the activity you are most avoiding contains your biggest opportunity. For example, many students avoid CSAT. For example, many students avoid that subject which they feel boring. For example, if polity is boring for you, or if geography is boring for you, or if revision is something which you are avoiding. Because when you go to revision, you start feeling that, will I remember this or not? Or if you are avoiding MCQs, or if you are avoiding PYQs, if you are avoiding all these things, this is a very dangerous mistake which you are making. For example, say Virat Kohli, the test match is going on and everybody is saying that why is he even trying to flick the white ball? So probably in test he would be working about that this mistake should not happen. In the similar context, from cricket, from sports to different things, if you keep avoiding the most important thing, that is your most avoiding thing, which your activity which you're trying to avoid, that is where the opportunity lies. So don't avoid your revision, don't avoid your PYQs, don't avoid your MCQs, don't avoid your answer writings, and most importantly, don't avoid your studies. And if you're lacking behind, just start working upon it and things will become better. Okay. So this is the important thought which I wanted to share. Okay. So let's move towards important news. 45,000 crore Ken-Betwa link project has been launched. Okay. Center yet to formally scrap FMR with Myanmar. Now this is very important news. This free movement regime, this is one of the areas because of which the northeast insurgency has increased, and this is also one of the reasons because of which Kuki Methi problem is increasing, because lot of these people, the Kuki community which is coming from this particular place, because if you go in the history of Kuki Methis, Kuki as a community was brought by the Britishers to make them safeguard against the Naga attacks which used to happen on Metis. So Metis king at that point of time, there used to be a kingdom called Kangli Pak kingdom. The king went to the Britishers. Britishers got these Kuki tribes from Myanmar, and these tribes were also like, these were also very violent in nature or ferocious in nature, and they were able to counter attack the headhunters tribes of Nagas. So at initially level, if you go in the history, so Kukis used to be the bodyguards. If you see, they used to be the bodyguards or security personnel for Metis, and today you see they are fighting against each other. And because of this influx of illegal migrants, the population dynamics of all the northeast region is also changing. So this free movement regime is something which needs to be stopped. We are still waiting for External Affairs Ministry's final notification to stop this. Okay, good morning, good morning. So India, Saudi Arabia explore joint ventures in defense sector. No panacea. Benefits cannot be a substitute for comprehensive welfare. This is again a very important editorial, because if you see in the recent elections, there has again been a case of freebies. First, the current dispensation government who used to say, no, we will not come with these freebies. But today, the current dispensation, the opposition, every party is doing freebies. And when I talk about this, important schemes are required. But important schemes or these freebies, these cannot replace the comprehensive development of people. In this editorial, we'll talk about it. So these are the important news for today, which we will be catering. Okay. So let's move to the first important news, that is 45,000 crore Ken-Betwa link project launch. With apart from this, the Prime Minister has launched multiple other schemes also. So we'll also talk about them. First of all, this is your Ken-Betwa link. Okay. And this is would be connecting basically the areas of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. And the problem is that there's an area called Bundelkhand. So there's a lot of drought in that area, and because of which the development of Bundelkhand has not been able to move. The development did not happen, but because of agricultural point of view, different kind of development. But because of this Ken-Betwa link, Ken and Betwa are both tributaries of Yamuna. Because of this, the prosperity and development in Bundelkhand region will start. Okay, so it is first of all India's first interlinking of river project under the National Perspective Plan for interlinking. First of all, this plan is important. That is a National Perspective Plan for interlinking of rivers, and this is the first project under it. First statement. Estimated cost is 44,605 crore, approximately 45,000 crore, with 90% funded by the central government. So majority of the money is coming from the center, and rest the 10% will come from the other sources. Okay. So in this, the Prime Minister laid the foundation of Ken-Betwa river linking project, and under the National Perspective Plan, this is the first time it is happening, National Perspective Plan for river interlinking. This is the first project under NPP, and this again can come as a prelim fact for you. Now this again is a very important map for you. Ken-Betwa link, you can see Madhya Pradesh here, Chhatarpur here, Panna, Satna and other important areas, and you can also see Uttar Pradesh here. So this sometimes the important areas associated with Ken-Betwa link can come. It can also come as a geography, some questions on Ken-Betwa, tributaries and etc. Because rivers which are in the news and current affairs, there is a tendency that even in the static areas, the UPSC, what has been the static areas which have been in the news, the tendency of UPSC is that they will start asking the static area from that. For example, if Ken-Betwa rivers are in the news, then you can expect a geography question in UPSC prelims. This has been a trend. This does not mean that this will always happen, but the chances of this happening is very high. So this is what I want to, that is why I am, I've taken this map. So the project aimed to address the water scarcity in the drought-prone Bundelkhand region and spanning the parts of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. So which all two states are there? Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. Which area is being targeted? Bundelkhand. Bundelkhand is a drought-prone area. If you go to this area, the poverty is very high. People are very downtrodden. In this context, the coming of river, agricultural improvement, the prosperity can come into this region. Now, one important thing, this announcement was also done in Khajuraho, Madhya Pradesh. So this news, if you talk about, this news is, loaded with facts. First of all, Ken-Betwa project, then tributaries of Yamuna, then National Perspective Plan, then this announcement was done in Khajuraho. So if you see, there is an angle of geography also, there is an angle of history also. And when you talk about Khajuraho, there's an angle of art and culture also. So in a one single news, multiple angles are coming. So this is what you say, interlinking of multiple subjects in a one single news. And this is what UPSCs keep on asking, right? So they might give you a current affairs prelims question, which might have a question from the static area also. Now, Khajuraho groups is a group of Hindu temples and Jain temples in Chhatarpur district, Madhya Pradesh, then India, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and these temples are based on Nagara style architecture. From your art and culture, they are based on Nagara style architecture, symbolism and erotic sculptures are there. And these are certain pictures for you. Okay, so these are the pictures for the Khajuraho temple. They are Nagara style and they are in Chhatarpur district, Madhya Pradesh. So some important facts for everyone. Now moving further, the estimated cost is around 45,000 crore. It would be connecting Ken and Betwa, both are tributaries of Yamuna. It would be done in phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, you will have Dodhan Dam, which would be made on Panna Tiger Reserve. So Panna Tiger Reserve, again an important fact. Panna Tiger Reserve, it's a tiger reserve. It is a critical tiger habitat located in Vindhyan mountain range in the northern part of Madhya Pradesh. It was declared a Project Tiger Reserve by the government of India in 1994. So two important facts from Panna Tiger Reserve has also been added in your slides, so that when you're going through the news, even the static part of the news is being covered for you. So Panna Tiger Reserve, critical tiger habitat located in Vindhyan mountain range. It is in the northern part of Madhya Pradesh, and in 1994 it also became the part of the Project Tiger. So in phase 1, the construction of Dodhan Dam on Panna Tiger Reserve, low level and high level tunnels would be constructed, and Ken-Betwa link and powerhouse. After that, in the second phase, includes the lower Aur Dam, Bina Complex project and Kotha barrage. So sometimes these kind of questions will come. They will probably write Kotha barrage or Aur Dam, or they will write Dodhan Dam, and they will try to link it, Ken-Betwa link project, and multiple options would be there. So this is why this phase 1 and phase 2 has been added, so that you remember this. Okay. So apart from this, the Prime Minister also praised late and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Sir, the father of the Constitution, for envisioning India's major river valley project. Now there's a very important, reason why he did it. Because when you talk about Central Water Commission which comes in 1945, this was made on the advice of B.R. Ambedkar Sir. At that point of time, this advice was given to the Britishers, and then CWC came, and that is why he was praising the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Sir. And then there was, the regular that the Congress and the other governments did not do, and the same political thing which we will not get into that. But what you need to understand is that CWC 1945, and the advice was given by B.R. Ambedkar to Britishers. So if you see in the first 2-3 slides only, multiple information has come from a prelims angle. Ken-Betwa link, National Perspective Plan, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, then your CWC has come, then Panna Tiger Reserve, Khajuraho temples, multiple angles have come. So sometimes in a single news, you get so much of information also. So PM accused past government of delayed implementation. Obviously, if the next government come, they will also say the same thing. So impact and benefits, first of all, the most important impact is that the drinking ability and the irrigation water needs of 10 districts of Madhya Pradesh and several districts in Uttar Pradesh. Dodhan Dam irrigation project will benefit 11 hectares of agricultural land. So the agricultural prosperity can increase in this area. And when the government talks about doubling the farmers' income, these kind of projects are very important for achieving this target of the government. Energy generation, around 27 megawatt of solar energy expected to generate 100 megawatt of hydropower and 27 megawatt of solar energy, which would be generated through this project. Please just see these important things. 100 plus megawatt of hydropower and 27 megawatt of solar energy. So 27 solar energy and more than 100 megawatt of hydropower. So both are separate. Okay. So one is hydropower, one is solar energy. I'm reiterating so that you remember. Okay. So economic and social development, most importantly, the economic and social development will happen of Bundelkhand region. This region has been, there's a lot of deprivation has been there, poverty has been there. In this context, it will address the long-standing water resources of this region, which will improve the prosperity of the region. And Bundelkhand has been looking for water for decades. I will say, even when I was preparing, that was a problem. Probably, years and decades back, this was also the problem. So finally, the project has started. Obviously, it will take some time to get this completed, but it's a step in the right direction. So PM has also launched. Now, apart from this, so the first part of the news is over, and in the second part, new schemes have also been launched. This is part of the same news. So, PM also launched Parbati Kali Sindh Chambal River Linking Project. Parbati Kali Sindh Chambal River Project connecting Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. So, for this also, I have added a map for you. So, if you see Banas River, Kali Sindh River, and Parvati River. Which river they are joining as a tributary? If you can see, Kali Sindh, Parvati, Banas River, they are joining Chambal River. So this again has also been a UPSC prelims question. So again, multiple. This is how the river question can come in your UPSC prelims also. The river which are, or the projects which are in the news, a prelims question can come. Okay. So this is your Parvati Kali Sindh Chambal River linking project connecting Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. The Ken-Betwa is Madhya Pradesh, UP. And this Kali Sindh Parbati is Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Again, a prelims question can come from this. They'll try to interchange and try to, make you, try to, make you confused with the options. Okay. So virtually inaugurated Madhya Pradesh first floating solar energy project in Omkareshwar. One more fact, Madhya Pradesh first floating solar energy project has come in Omkareshwar. Laid foundation of 1153 Atal Gram Seva Sadhans in basically a lot of government services are provided through this, like birth certificates and many other certificates, so that all these villages, they are connected, the services they want from the state and the center. Release commemorative stamp and the coin on Atal Bihari Vajpayee's birth centenary, which was yesterday, that is 25th December, which was celebrated yesterday also, and it is also known as Good Governance Day. Okay. Atal Bihari Vajpayee sir was born on 25th December. So this map is also done for you guys. Now, environmental concerns are there, but the Prime Minister has made it clear that if you people have environmental concerns, we also have environmental concerns, and we will make sure that the wildlife protection is there and would be a priority during the canal's construction. Apart from there, the governor was there, and Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Mohan Yadav was there, Union Jal Shakti Minister, C.R. Patil, Madhya Pradesh Governor, Mangu Bhai Patel, all these important dignitaries were also there for this particular event. Obviously, so many things were being launched. So let's come to the MCQ. The project aims to connect rivers in the drought-prone regions of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. Correct. It is expected to generate 200 megawatt of solar energy, not 200 megawatt, 27 megawatt, and more than 100 megawatts of hydropower. The project includes measures to ensure wildlife conservation in Panna Tiger Reserve. Obviously correct. So 1 and 3 are correct. Second statement is wrong. Okay. Now let's move to the next question. Center to formally scrap FMR with Myanmar. Okay. First of all, you see the border which we are sharing with Myanmar, which is more than 1600 kilometers. So see, Arunachal Pradesh is there. Okay, Arunachal Pradesh is there, your Nagaland is there, Mizoram is there, and Manipur is there. Recently, the major problem which is coming is from Manipur, because I gave you that example that the Kuki tribes, if you go to the history of Kuki tribes, they were brought from Myanmar only. So lot of their relatives or their ancestors or their extended family stays in Myanmar. But because of this FMR, this particular scheme, the free movement regime, the problem which is happening is that the population dynamics of Manipur is changing, because lot of this population is coming in Manipur. They say that we are coming for 10 days or 20 days or 7 days, but they're staying in Manipur. And there's a recent surge, or rather not a recent, but in the last 4 or 5 decades, if you see, the surge in the population of Manipur of Kukis has increased like anything compared to Metis. And then there is a standard problem which is happening with Kukis and Metis in terms of the ST status, in terms of religion, misinformation warfare, the population issues. That I will not go into, because I have discussed that a lot in the previous Decode session, which you already know. But what the major problem is that when this is coming from Myanmar, to Mizoram or Nagaland, this illegal population which is coming, it is disturbing the socio-economic dynamics of that particular state. For example, I've given you an example earlier also. For example, if a state has 100 kgs of wheat and there are 100 people, everyone is getting 1 kg of wheat. But suddenly, out of this 100, now 10,000 people from Myanmar enters. Okay, so now it's 10,000 and 100. Now, but the source or the atta and the wheat remains same in that state. It's 100 kg only. Now 10,100 people are dependent on that 100 kg of wheat. This is the major problem. So resources are limited. Second major problem which comes is that when this illegal population comes, they will change the political dynamics of the state also, because they will start choosing the people they want. This is a problem which we have seen in Assam also, in which the people speaking Assamese have decreased and people speaking Bengalis have increased. This, I think we have discussed this in editorial also. An editorial had come which was criticizing the decision of Supreme Court related to the Citizenship Amendment Act. If you remember, we have done that editorial. It was saying that the cultural ethos of Assam is changing. Similar can be the problem here. Then there is a one major problem which comes under the FMR, that if you take Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, all this, or Cambodia, this region, they also have something called Golden Triangle. Now, this Golden Triangle is the epicenter in Southeast Asia regarding your drugs, opium, and illegal weapons. And from this Myanmar, they enter here. Next important problem which is happening in Myanmar is that military junta is fighting against rebels, and rebels have taken more than 50% area of Myanmar. Because of this current situation in Myanmar, which is going through a turmoil, that the Myanmar rebels are fighting against the military junta, this situation increases the complexity of Myanmar, and whenever this situation happens, the general population of Myanmar, they will start shifting towards the northeast because they want to go to the stable area, because currently a revolt is going on, revolution is going on, killing is going on, genocide also might be happening in Myanmar because so much of rebellious movement is happening. So rebels are against the military junta is against the rebels, a lot of fighting are going on, and the civil population is being harassed, and this population will also start moving to this particular area. When this population start moving to this area, the cultural dynamics is disturbed, political dynamics is disturbed, socio-economic dynamics is disturbed, economic resources are also disturbed. So I hope you understand that why the government wants to take a strict action on this FMR, free movement regime. Okay. So I've given you now with the map, you understand. So what is FMR? All the hill tribes, whether they are the citizens of India or Myanmar, can travel within 16 kilometers on either side of India Myanmar border. Now 16 kilometers is more than enough. They enter 16 kilometers, but after some time they become invisible. So they can cross the border by producing a border pass with 1 year validity. Even the pass had a validity of 1 year, issued by the competent authority, and can stay up to 2 weeks per visit. FMR was implemented in 2018 as part of the central government Act East policy. So the government had implemented in good faith, that Myanmar is very important from the point of view of Act East policy. It will strengthen the relationship with Northeast and Myanmar. Similar kind of community are staying on the both the side, but nobody thought that this can also create a problem, security issues. So this is creating a big internal security problem there. It aimed to facilitate local border trade, improve access to education and healthcare for border residents, and strengthen the diplomatic ties. So that was the intent, the diplomatic ties between the two countries, improve, strengthen the relationship, and the focus on the Act East policy of, for example, the Northeast can be connected through Myanmar, and through Myanmar we can be connected to the ASEAN countries, and overall trade and prosperity will come to Northeast. That was the intent of the government, but that did not happen. Rather, illegal migrants have come, migrants have entered the Northeast. So free movement regime enabling free movement for residents within 16 kilometers of India-Myanmar border is yet to be formally scrapped. MHA has already told that this needs to go. We are formally waiting for the External Affairs Minister to put the words. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has introduced stricter regulation, the ministry has introduced stricter regulation reducing the free movement regime from 16 kilometers to 10 kilometers. Formal notification ending FMR by the External Affairs Ministry is pending, despite earlier verbal announcements had been done, but we are still waiting for the official announcement from the MEA, that is Ministry of External Affairs. I think with the what is happening in Bangladesh, it might come very soon also. Okay, so backdrop and the context is Home Minister announced suspension of the FMR to safeguard the internal security and demographic structure of the northeastern states. Now, certain states have also said that they are not ready to accept this viewpoint of the government, and they are against it. So, Nagaland and Mizoram have gone against it. They might be having some ulterior motives or agendas which we might know, or they might be having some good agendas on the point of view of culture. But currently, it's a big internal security problem. What is happening with cookies and metis, and the government is doing absolutely a right decision. So, Manipur governor's order cited recommendation from the Home Ministry for scrapping FMR, awaiting MEA's final order. It from the point of view of internal security, from the point of view of what is happening in Myanmar, the military junta versus rebel, it becomes paramount and important that this step is taken ASAP, that is as soon as possible. Otherwise, the complexities and the dynamics and an internal security problem in Manipur will increase like anything. The problem in Manipur started in May 2023, and we are still trying to find a resolution. More than 50,000, 60,000 troops are already there, but we still have not been able to find a solution to the entire Manipur problem. And again, the Methi Kuki Zoo communities fighting with the Methi communities. Influx of weapons is happening, influx of poppy is happening, influx of drugs is happening. So it's a complex problem. So in this context, it has become very important we stop at least this FMR scheme, at least for momentarily. Later we can think about when the relationship improves and Myanmar gets a stabilized government and India is having a good relationship, then we can think about restarting it. But right now it is a very important decision to stop it, to curtail this internal security problem, which might increase like anything. Okay, so in this context, Nagaland and Mizoram are opposing it. Support from scrapping FMR, obviously Manipur CM N. Biren Singh, he has been constantly telling that the drugs are coming, and there is a invisible hand behind it. If you remember yesterday's article which we were doing, so Manipur's retired High Court Chief Justice of Manipur High Court, he was also saying that there seems to be an invisible hand behind this entire Manipur crisis. When things are trying to get stabilized, suddenly it starts again, the violence erupts. So that is why. So if you have a porous border, that invisible hand can come. And if Myanmar is not doing it, maybe China is asking them to do it, or some other country. So it is important that you put a strict line on the border so that this invisible hand is not able to enter in terms of drugs, in terms of money, or in terms of inciting violence, or in terms of giving weapons. This needs to be stopped as soon as possible. So established, when you talk about the significance of FMR, we've already done. The FMR started in 1968. The current scheme which came in 2018 is based on this 1968 only. Okay, so its initial free movement was around 40 kilometers. Then it was reduced to 16 kilometers in 2004. Additional regulation were imposed in 2016 to address the security concerns. Now, new protocols have also been introduced till the Ministry of External Affairs comes with their protocol and guidelines and what they say. So cross-border regulations would be there. The passes would be issued for Assam rifles. Now, from earlier it was 40 to 16 days and 16 days. Now it has come to 7 days. These passes would be issued by Assam Rifle for 7 days stay in Myanmar, includes a QR code, photograph, biometric details. So technology and everything would be used to see who is coming inside the Indian border, who is going, so that this illegal migration does not happen. And most importantly, everything would be thoroughly checked also. And if there is any violation, legal actions would be taken. So there would be infrastructure and points of access, 43 entry exit points to be functional in phases. First it will start with 8, then 14, then 21, from which people can come from Myanmar to India or India to Myanmar. And if the Ministry of External Affairs takes a stringent action on this, then things would be even harder. Okay. So implication for stakeholders, border residents, tighter movement, so disruption of the traditional ties, but more important right now is security rather than the traditional ties. They can again start in 6 months. 6 state governments, mixed response based on ethnic, political and security priorities. Mostly Nagas and people from, or the Mizoram government is against it. They might be having their own agendas regarding it. Security forces, Assam Rifles to play a critical role. Northeast region aim to control the unregulated migration, preventing demographic shifts. So this is what is stated that, migration and preventing demographic shifts. The major problem is the internal security problem, because many of the insurgent and militant groups which are working Myanmar, they also try to use this particular FMR regime and try to enter India and create havoc in our states. Okay. So this is the UPSC question. Discuss the implication of tightening regulation under the free movement regime on India's border security and socio-cultural dynamics along the India-Myanmar order. I think when I started lecture also I spoke about FMR. I am sure that I told you only this free movement regime. Okay, now moving further, Conquer Prelims 2025 course would be starting on 6th January 2025. These are the important subjects which would be covered, which includes modern history, geography and all the prelim subject. For all details, you can scan on this QR code also and call on the number which I had given you earlier for all details. Okay. So before I proceed to the next part or the next important news, India, Saudi Arabia explore the defense ties, I want to take your comments. Like I will be taking the comments later on, but I want to know, a lot of people are there in the lecture. First of all, what is your thought process on this Manipur issue? We have discussed this Manipur issue a lot of times, you already know that. So who do you think is behind it? Is China behind it, or that is the invisible hand, or cookies are getting support from the Myanmar based insurgent groups, or Metis are behind it, and what can be the solution to this problem? This problem started in May 2023, and today we are in the end of this year. Okay, so almost 1.5 years have passed, and we still don't have a solution to this problem. And the statements of chief ministers have been very aggressive regarding the cookies, and there's a lot of problem of drugs also there. There's a lot of problem of illegal weapons there, and this porous border and FMR regime complexes the problem. So in this entire context, I want to understand what is your thought process on Manipur. Please write in the comment section. Please do write. And one important thing that you must have heard that, that our the podcast series Beyond the Headlines have started. The first trailer is out. Please go and watch that trailer on the channel. And rest, the podcast would be coming on Saturday today, where you can watch me and Vinessa talking about nepotism in India, fact or fiction. So that is also one thing which I wanted to talk about. Now coming to the next news, that is India and Saudi Arabia explore joint ventures in defense sector. So are you noticing a pattern here that India and Kuwait defense pattern, defense sector, wherever the Prime Minister is going, there are certain 3-4 things he's talking about. He will be talking about sustainable development. He will be definitely talking about Make in India, then defense arena, and he will be talking about please come and invest in India. So there are certain areas he's constantly talking about, whichever country is going. For example, there would be a talk of culture and education when he met the Italian Prime Minister, Australian Prime Minister, UK Prime Minister at the G20 summit at Rio de Janeiro. He spoke about culture, he spoke about education. Specifically, education was very important because we were having problems with Canada, and defense ties, so we are talking only. So now with Kuwait also we spoke about defense and increasing the defense infrastructure on the both sides, Make in India. So these are certain areas where Prime Minister is constantly focusing: sustainable development, climate change, depending upon which country is going. But economics, Make in India, defense seems to be something which is constantly coming again and again. Okay. So first of all, this we are talking about Saudi Arabia. This is your Saudi Arabia. This is Kuwait. This is United Arab Emirates. This is Israel. This is Syria. All these countries, we are having very good relationship and a lot of trade. Syria with Bashar al-Assad regime, we had a decent relationship in the terms of petrochemicals, and lot of other trade was also happening between more establishment. But now this HTS has come. So let's see how India evolves its relationship with HTS in Syria. But the other countries, Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Kuwait, the relationship is very good. I'm not saying it is not good with Oman and Yemen and other countries. I'm talking about these specific countries. Okay. Then there is one important from the point of view of your mapping. If you see, this is your Red Sea. Okay. Sana is here of Yemen. Okay. United Arab Emirates, and this is Persian Gulf. This area, this particular area is your Strait of Hormuz. Okay, this has also been asked in UPSC. So this is Iran, UAE, Dubai, and this is Strait of Hormuz, Gulf of Oman, Riyadh, capital of Saudi Arabia, and this is Kuwait. So we were discussing Kuwait some days back. Now we're discussing Saudi Arabia. Now the news which is coming is, and this is Gulf of Eden also. So Gulf of Eden already asked. So Red Sea, Gulf of Eden, Gulf of Oman, Strait of Hormuz, Persian Gulf. This entire area of West Asia is one of the favorite areas of UPSC. It keeps asking question in prelims and mains. Your West Asia needs to be very strong from the mapping point of view. And if you see the point of view of Israel and fighting with Iran, this has been in the news. Israel with the Yemen, this is your area where Houthis are there. And if you move forward, upward, Lebanon will come. Lebanon where Hezbollah is there, and now it has moved north of Litani on the eastern side. On the western side, you will also have the Gaza. Okay, so Gaza would also be there. In terms of, I'm talking about Hamas. So Hamas, Houthis, this entire region has been in turmoil in 2024. So question from prelims can be expected in this particular area. Okay. Now let's move towards news. India, Saudi Arabia explore joint ventures in defense sector. India and Saudi Arabia are focusing on enhancing defense industrial cooperation through joint ventures and technology sharing. And India has also told that over the years, the important technology which India has been able to develop in defense sector, it is ready to share it with Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is a very important ally of India. Are you seeing this change? Pakistan, around 10, 15, 20 years back, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, all these countries, they used to say whatever Pakistan wanted them to say. They used to say things against Kashmir. But in the last 10 to 15 years, or rather 20 years, this has suddenly changed because they have realized that Pakistan is only harping on the Kashmiri issue. But when it comes to trade and economics, that country does not have any money, and neither that country is growing. That country is an epicenter of terrorism. And they have realized the value of India. India is a growing country. India is an emerging economy. India is part of BRICS, and many of these countries want to become part of BRICS because India is representing global south, and that is why this kind of relationship between India and other countries is happening, that most of these countries want to have a very good relationship with India. They also have a relationship with China, but China, it is a very different. It is like a big brother dominating the small brother or the younger brother. And when the relationship is happening with India, it is like two equal people participating to find solution and to grow their economy. So this is the difference between India and China. China tries to dominate, and China tries to take your land also under the BRI. Obviously, China has deeper pockets, and certain areas you might require China's help for these countries. But in the context of overall comprehensive and cohesive growth, India is the best partner. And that is why countries from West, America and Middle East, they are trying to, be participate with India. And India is also trying to do the same things. And we also, India is a country which is having this de-hyphenation policy. With every country we can talk. We can talk with Saudi Arabia, Ukraine, Russia, America, China, any country. And that is one of the most important pivot and one of the most important things India has been able to establish. Okay. So in this context, Indian ambassador to Riyadh, Suhail Azaz Khan, emphasized mutual trust and confidence underpinning the defense tie during the recent seminar. Both nations are shifting from defense hardware importers. Now, Saudi Arabia is also one of the biggest weapons importer. It imports a lot of weapons from the America. India is also one of the biggest importer of weapons. But now we are moving towards Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we are trying that we start making our own defense weapons. I've told you in the previous lecture also, a country which wants to become a superpower, it cannot be dependent on weapons from another country. For example, you're dependent on Russia. For example, tomorrow you're dependent on America. All these countries, we are already dependent, and you have a war with China, and both of these countries side with China at that point of time, and they stop giving you arms and ammunition which you need in the war. So what will happen? Again, China will be easily able to win the war in the terms of if they have better weapons and anything. Not to discourage what our security forces and armed forces can do. I'm just talking in the terms of weapons and technology. So it is very important that you build your own weapons and technology. For example, yesterday we were discussing our news. China has made its own J-35, which they claim is even better than the F-35 fifth generation stealth fighter craft of the Americans. Now, maybe J-35 is not better. Maybe it is only 50% or 60% of F-35. But the important part is that China is making on its own. Right now, we are also making our Tejas, but the problem is that the Tejas engines, the GE engines, which are General Atomic engines, which we are waiting for, those engines are sitting with the Americans. Americans are not sending it. So when those engines will come, then your Tejas will fly. So again, the Tejas project has been stopped. Similarly, S-400, we are still waiting for the S-400, the machines which had to come from the Russians. They might come by by the 2028 or 2029, because Russia is engaged in Russia-Ukraine war. So this is a major problem comes when you're dependent on weapons and technology from other countries. It is important that you create your own weapons and technology, and that is what China has been able to do. India is also realizing it. India is also becoming an exporter of weapons, and Saudi Arabia is also realizing this. Okay, so in this context, Saudi Vision 2030 aims to localize 50% of defense spending, aligning with the India's Make in India initiative. And many of the weapons India, which today is buying, we're talking about radar and everything, around 40 to 50 or 60%, 40 to 60% of that weapon would be made in India, which will increase the employment opportunities for the country, and which will also economically very good for the country. So these policies open up significant investment opportunities in India's defense sector. Ammunition deal. Earlier this year, Saudi Arabia signed a $250 million contract for ammunitions from Munitions India Limited Defense PSU. Technology sharing. India India is prepared to share defense technologies localized in recent years. This is what I was talking, that the technology which we have been able to develop, this would also be shared with the Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is a very important ally. Also remember that we had done that news, that critical and emerging technologies, that the deal which we have, the agreement which we have with the India and America, where India would be sharing important technology and America would also be sharing that technology, and later on it will move to Quad to the Europe and further. So again, so critical and emerging technology, India is putting a lot of focus on that with many other countries. So focus area for partnership, shipbuilding, electronics and emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and cyber security. Progress and challenges in indigenization. Both countries have made significant progress in localizing defense production. Obviously, defense PSU, startups and many things have increased in a country, and this is what we want from Saudi also, that they can invest here, they can, or we can help them in the technology, so that there's a quid pro quo which can happen between the two countries. So Indian technology and defense are shared only with trusted allies, with Saudi Arabia being a top priority. Now, Saudi Arabia being a top priority, sharing important technologies. So what will Pakistan share? I'm talking about Pakistan because they used to, it used to say that we are a Islamic country, we have a lot of Muslims, you are an Islamic country, you also have a lot of Muslims. See, Saudi Arabia, UAE countries, they're moving far ahead of this, and they are realizing the importance of oil and gas in the coming years and decades will reduce as we are moving towards electric vehicles. And that is why Saudi Arabia, Qatar, they are trying to get these football rights. Qatar hosted the World Cup. They are trying to change their society also, and trying to become a global hub. Many of these areas are already a global hub, because they realize the importance of changing world, that we need to move ahead, we need to be aligning with the economies which would be changing the world, and hence these changes you are being seeing. And India is also trying to show that when it comes to Middle East, when it comes to these Islamic nations, we are a very important ally for you, and we are certainly. Okay, so this is the key pillar of India-Saudi relation. High-level visits are happening, maintain momentum in bilateral ties. Saudi Arabia aims to transition from a defense consumer to defense producer under the Vision 2030. So this is the Vision 2030 of Saudi Arabia, and I think India can pitch in it, and economically, it would be benefiting both the countries for self-reliance point of view also and growth point of view also. So discuss the growing defense cooperation between India and Saudi Arabia in the light of their respective initiatives. Vision 2030 of Saudi Arabia and Make in India. So, you can put some pointers of Make in India and Vision 2030 and mix it and write an answer. How can this partnership contribute to regional stability and self-reliance? So self-reliance is covered. For regional stability, you also need to take an angle of Middle East and this entire area, that how India and Saudi Arabia can also work on the stability. So it's a very good question. Let's come to the editorial. So the editorial is on no panacea, benefits cannot be substituted to comprehensive welfare. Okay. So no panacea. So this basically editorial is talking about this direct cash benefit transfer which you are doing. This might get you votes. This might get you in the power. But this is not the comprehensive development of that society or state. This is what editorial is talking about. Benefits cannot replace the comprehensive welfare. Comprehensive welfare of the entire society or of the entire citizens in that state cannot be done by one or two schemes. These one or two schemes can get you votes, but they cannot replace the comprehensive welfare of the people, which I think the editor is 100% right in it, because of these schemes now there is a trend of coming with multiple freebies, which will just put a pressure on exchequer. Certain of these schemes are very good, but majority of them is that A political party is giving 2500 rupees, the B will give 3000 rupees, C political party will give 3500 rupees. Rather than giving rupees and money, it is important that you teach people how to earn this 2500 rupees or 3000 rupees or 4000 rupees, because once a person becomes capable of earning the money, he can move from 3000 to 7000 to 10,000 to 15,000 to 20 to 30 to 40 and so on and so forth. But because you're teaching him the skill set, so once he runs the skill set, then he can enhance the skill set. But if you're just giving this free money, the overall improvement of the society will not happen. These schemes are not substitute of employment opportunities. That is what I'm trying to tell. Okay, so examples of certain schemes like Ladki Behan and Ladli Behan of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, quite successful. Kalai Nagar Magalir Urimai Thogai in Tamil Nadu, and AAP has also proposed a scheme, Mukhya Mantri Mahila Samman Yojana in Delhi, offering 2100 monthly to women. So these schemes are coming. They will definitely put a pressure on the exchequer. They have a lot of these schemes have been successful. Certain part of the scheme is fine, but when these schemes become when the number of these schemes become majority in nature and that becomes the thought process, then you are not creating employment opportunities, you're not giving skill set, you are just trying to give some kind of free money so that they vote for you. So direct cash transfers are increasingly being used as a welfare measure by political parties to retain support among the constituencies. So the focus here is winning the election. Focus is just winning the election rather than working for the people. That's the problem, and it's across parties I'm talking about. Okay, so for example, if we talk about these women oriented schemes, there's certainly a benefit. It provides disposable income to women. It gives them independence, specifically in the patriarchal society, in which there are many regions in a country where women still don't get the basic money. And this unpaid labor, unpaid domestic labor, at least they will get certain money, and this money would be going in their accounts. That is supposedly we are believing. Now it is going in their accounts, but most of the times when I see that these particular accounts are operated by the male counterparts only, or it's operated. So when we are trying to tell that this will, this is against the male dominance of the patriarchal society. What if that there are 100 females or 100 women and the 90% of their accounts are being taken care by their husband or someone other in their family? So will they be getting this money? That's a question mark. Okay. So the intended intention, the intended goal is to give this money to women. But will that money be actually going to the women? That is also something which we need to see. It enhances the dignity by enabling usage for essential or savings. Probably if we say that, say 70% it is going to women, then also I will say it's quite successful, because it would actually be helping women which has been unpaid. They don't get even basic money for their domestic needs. Popularity among beneficiaries, these schemes are well received in states where they are implemented due to their direct impact. Yes, most of these schemes have been properly implemented, and even if the amount is 1500, 2000, 2500, it's a very important amount for our society as we are growing, because the disposable incomes of, you cannot compare the disposable income of Delhi, Bangalore with these other cities. The income generation in these cities is still very less. That is what I am trying to say, that okay, you are doing these schemes, but with these schemes you need to create employment opportunities, skill set opportunities. They should not be dependent on this 2100 or 2500. Rather, they after getting the skill set, they should be making 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 more and more income, so that there is an overall growth of that individual and the society as a whole. Okay. Limitation of cash transfer, they cannot substitute for comprehensive welfare measure that address the root causes of socio-economic issues. Exactly, that is what I am trying to tell. For example, say there are 100 socio-economic problems. Can you launch 100 schemes? Do we have that budget? We launch 100 schemes and then start giving this money for free. It will not work. Then people will stop working. They will say, okay, the money is already coming in the account. Why to work? This is not how a society grows. For a particular section, you are giving certain amount of money, understood. But for example, even if you are giving these women, this kind of 2100 or 2500, if you can give them some kind of opportunity where they can work and contribute, it can be a cooperative, it can be many things which a government can do. Similar things need to be done for the other population also. Just coming with the free schemes will not, it might fetch you the vote, but it will not fetch you the growth of society and the state. Okay, for example, in Maharashtra is one of the richest states in the country. I think the richest. Relative stagnation in economic growth is coming, and because of these schemes, more pressure would come to the financial exchequer, and how that money will come then. And employment generation is also very less. Persisting regional and economic inequalities are there. Madhya Pradesh is one of the India's poorest state, lacking diversified employment opportunities. That is what I'm talking about. You are giving free money, but you are not generating employment. Okay, so you're ready to give 2,000 rupees, but you should be focusing on generating 2 lakh job opportunities. Because once a person gets job, for example, he gets a job of 10,000 rupees only. After 6 months, 1 year, his skill sets will improve. He'll go from 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25. So that is what the government needs to see, not these free schemes. Okay, 1 or 2 schemes, understood. But now every political party has started. So if somebody is giving 2,500, I will give you 3,000 rupees. That is not the way growth will happen. Okay. So this is just a short-term refill. These schemes are temporary balm rather than addressing systematic economic challenge. Wonderful line which you can use for your UPSC mains also. These schemes are a temporary balm rather than addressing systematic economic challenge. Fail to ensure demand-driven growth to meaningful employment generation. Exactly my point. These schemes are not employment generation. These schemes will not help in the growth of the state. These schemes will not lead to higher disposable incomes. Nothing will happen. These are only, you put a balm and person will feel certain amount of money is coming. That's it. Rather than giving 2,500 rupees, if you can find, give him a skill set which can get him a 25,000 rupees job, that is much better. Okay. So AAP shift in focus now. AAP started with focusing on prime. So the editorial has taken an example of a political party that initially they were focusing on primary healthcare and education reforms, but now they are also doing the same thing. Women suggest a lack of for benefits of women, free metro, free bus. On the name of women, they have started giving these free schemes, and because they know that they will get votes. And subsidized electricity. The state is not generating so much of money. Just to tell you, state is not generating. The same is the case with Punjab. Punjab debt is very high, but still it is coming with all these, border dash schemes or nonsensical schemes of giving money for free. Either your state has a lot of surplus money. For example, you have 10,000 crore of surplus money, you're doing this scheme, understood. But your state, Punjab, is in huge debt right now. And they're also coming with this scheme. We will give you 1,500 rupees, 2,000 rupees, some XYZ name they will put in, language of that particular state. And similar model is being followed, mostly followed all over the country. That is not the right way. That is not the way your economy will grow. So these are populist trends. Ruling parties emulate welfare benefits to secure electoral gain rather than offering sustainable solutions. Because for sustainable solution, it will take time and there has to be a thought process behind it. Now this is this is a problem with the people also and the government also. Now the political parties, even if they want to come with sustainable solutions, people are looking for quick money. If we get 200 rupees, 500 rupees, so they will vote for that particular party rather than thinking that right now you are getting 500 rupees, as the inflation will increase, this 500 rupees would be nothing. So you need to find a job where your income increases and it matches inflation and overall growth happens. So there's a problem with the society also and problem with the political parties also. Both are looking for a simpler solution. So political party wants to be in the power and some certain particular part of the population is looking for these free schemes. Both combined together, this political party comes and this entire games keep on going. That is a major issue in our country. So the question is, they critically analyze the role of direct cash transfer schemes in empowering women and addressing socio-economic challenges, highlight their limitation and suggest measures for comprehensive welfare. It's a wonderful UPSC mains question. Now, if you see, I'm not against these women welfare schemes. They have to be done. But just first 500 rupees and next time 800, 800 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees. Do we have the surplus money that every state can do it first? States in debt, they are also coming with multiple schemes. Rather than comprehensively working on the socio-economic measures, employment opportunities, growth, they are not, or job opportunities, employment opportunities, they are not working on these parameters. They are not working how a state economy can come, how infrastructure creation can happen, how a development creation can happen, not focusing on this, but on these free schemes because they help in getting the votes. So these schemes have become hot potatoes to get votes. That's the problem we are talking about. And in this particular question, I'm giving you certain pointers which you can use from the news, because I keep saying that from this particular PDF, take these pointers. Now, this is one exception I'm doing you. This is not part of the particular lecture. This is an exception I'm doing you so that you understand how this has to be done. So, for example, these are certain pointers for the pointers for guidance, empowerment, unpaid domestic labor, a patriarchal society, like why this has come. And similarly, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh employment generation, certain pointers from the same I've added. Now this would be part of PDF. This have been added so that you can get an idea that how you can take out the pointers. Again, I'm telling you, this is one time I'm doing it for you. It does not mean that every question I'll start doing, because obviously we have a very limited stipulated time in the lecture, and most importantly, focus for you should be that you go and work it. Already all the entire dynamics of the news have been told to you. Now you need to do this homework on your own. That is the focus. Now just don't tell sir, for every question you start doing it, then the purpose would get defeated. It's not that I can't do it. The purpose is that you need to write this. Okay. So these two pointers have been done, and time and again, whenever I get time, I'll try to give you these pointers that how you need to write. Now, this is not exactly how mains answer is written. There's an introduction, body, and conclusion. These pointers will help you that, okay, from this news, these important pointers are there. And in the PDF, they're already given like this. So I hope you understand. So I'm telling this because now one will say, sir, for every question you start doing it. Okay, that's not the point. Okay, so in the extra mile, you can go through the US and China renew SNT agreement. And you can follow up Sapna Man. It comes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9:30 a.m. on YouTube channel. Now I'll take some comments also. Sir, Manipur problems are caused by ethnic tensions and local issues. Even the China is behind it. The solution is to encourage talks, improve security, give more rights, and boost development. Absolutely correct, Parikshat. On point, absolutely. Sir, Manipur issue is mainly due to mix of ethnic conflict, tribal insurgency, drug trafficking, and inflation from Myanmar. Correct. PM should visit Manipur and should be unified command action. There should be formation of peace communities and state level too. Again, Namita, very good point. Both you and Parikshit have given wonderful points. And good morning, whoever told in the early part. So thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you. Today we have given you certain suggestions from a news. It's not in the answer format, but it is basically telling you what are the pointers to be taken. And beyond the headlines, trailer has been out for the nepotism video. The video would be coming on Saturday. Please watch it. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind and take care.